Welcome to School and Around, a podcast hosted by Branching Minds, featuring prominent leaders, subject matter experts, and thought innovators with their perspectives on the current challenges facing K-12 education. I am your host, Larissa Napolitan, a former teacher, instructional coach, and a member of the Branching Minds team, here to lead conversations and to shine a light on phenomenal educators and those that are on a mission to transform our schools and the lives of students. Maybe you've been listening for a while, or this is your first episode. If you like what you hear, would you do us a favor by rating and reviewing us on iTunes? This is a fantastic way to tell us you enjoy what we are creating. Also, if you want more MTSS resources, sign up for our weekly newsletter using the link in our show notes, and check out our website for all the blogs and guides you would ever need about MTSS. Hey everyone, welcome back to School and Around. I am so glad you're here. Today, we're diving deep into how to ensure your MTSS intervention plans are really working. We'll discuss 5 key points for monitoring progress and adjusting plans when needed. So grab a cup of coffee, put on your walking shoes, or just settle in, and let's get started. So, you've identified students needing a support plan, created goals, selected and implemented appropriate interventions, and you've been collecting data using a monitoring progress tool or assessment. Fantastic. These are all necessary steps to supporting students through your multi-tiered system of supports, or MTSS. But now what? How do you know if the intervention plan is actually working? Part of this work is about determining the just right level of intervention. And like Goldilocks, there's a time to make adjustments. And just as Goldilocks collected data along the way to find out what worked for her, with an intervention plan, there will be adjustments as data is collected. Let's break down 5 key things to make sure your intervention plan is successful. First, let's start with a foundation of any MTSS intervention plan, progress monitoring. This is essentially how you track whether an intervention you've put into place is working. Without consistent monitoring, it's like flying blind. You don't know if the student is improving or if you need to adjust course. The key here is frequency. You should be gathering data at least weekly, if not more, depending on the intervention. And the more regularly you collect data, the quicker you can catch issues before they become larger problems. And keep in mind that the data may vary and be higher or lower than the goal line due to a variety of factors, including testing environment or the time of day the student is monitored for progress, fatigue, or illness. For example, if a student is taking the assessment in a classroom versus a quiet library, or before lunch versus after lunch, the student might perform differently. For this reason, more data is very helpful. Which leads me to the next point. The importance of establishing a data trend. If you're only looking at 1 or 2 data points, you're not going to get a clear picture of a student's progress. It's like trying to predict the weather based on 1 day. It's unreliable. You need at least 3 data points to begin identifying trends. This could mean the difference between assuming an intervention is working and realizing it needs to be adjusted. Trends help you figure out whether a student's progress is steady, accelerating, or plateauing. If I have a student who did really great in their intervention work the first week, I can't assume that they don't need to keep going. It's better to have 3 weeks of data to confirm that maybe the intervention is too easy or not exactly what they need. Next, even the best intervention won't work if it isn't applied with fidelity. And this one point is very important and often quite hard in a school with lots of interruptions and 4-day weeks and other inconsistencies. Fidelity refers to how closely you stick to the intervention's design. If the intervention plan says to deliver 30 minutes of targeted reading support daily, but you only do it 3 times a week for 15 minutes, you won't get the results you're looking for. It's crucial to make sure that the intervention is implemented as intended to avoid misinterpreting the results. This ensures that you're not blaming the plan when the issue might be inconsistent application. So for example, I had a student that was absent at least once a week and missed out on their intervention. I didn't just throw out that intervention plan. Instead, I called home to talk to the parent about being present at school and how much that makes a difference to their progress. Sometimes multiple types of interventions are necessary to see progress in all areas. So an attendance intervention might also be helpful in this case. As a leader, it's very important to get your eyes on the intervention, especially if a student isn't making progress. Observation may help you provide insight for the teacher and interventionist that they just may not see. They may need more training or support to make sure that the intervention is done to fidelity. Fourth, one of the most important aspects of MTSS is the flexibility it offers. If after 6 to 8 weeks the intervention isn't showing enough improvement, it's time to make a change. This doesn't necessarily mean starting from scratch. Sometimes small tweaks like increasing the frequency of support or changing the setting can make a big difference. The idea is to be proactive and not reactive. MTSS is built on the idea that intervention should be responsive to student needs. So don't hesitate to adjust your approach when progress stalls. And this often goes against the idea that the student, once needing intervention, will always need it. You want to have the mindset that students should graduate out of intervention groups and not need that support anymore. I like to think of it maybe as a continuum, that sometimes they need more support, sometimes they need less. Here's another scenario. A student is showing some progress, but is not nearly where he needs to be to meet his SMART goal. In this scenario, our student shows that the intervention plan is showing some success, just not at the rate we need to get to that target ROI. And in this case, the delivery is spot on, but we need to check the actual intervention. Is it the right one, specific to his skill? If not, there needs to be an adjustment. This kind of flexibility is possible when you have easy access to track and analyze the data. So that's point number 5, data visualization. Seeing a student's progress on a graph or chart can be incredibly powerful. It takes abstract numbers and turns them into a clear picture of whether the intervention is helping. Tools like Branching Minds allow you to plot a student's data over time, helping you identify trends at a glance. You can immediately see if a student's performance is improving or if the line is flat, indicating that something needs to change. Data visualization turns progress monitoring from something that feels tedious into something actionable. If you're a leader wondering why students are stuck in the same intervention groups working on the same skill all year, not having real-time access to data may be the culprit. How are your teachers tracking data and making decisions about student interventions? And how easy is it for them to do that? Branching Minds has a great platform to make this process a whole lot easier. And we have so many great resources on our website, including a fantastic new updated MTSS intervention flowchart that can help you make this process a whole lot simpler. So I'd love to hear from you. How are your intervention plans been going this year? Are there areas that you're still struggling to see progress? Share your thoughts with us on social media or send us a message at podcast@branchingminds.com. We'd love to hear from you. I'd love to learn from your experiences and keep that conversation going. To wrap things up, effective intervention plans rely on regular progress monitoring, establishing clear data trends, applying interventions with fidelity, staying flexible, and using data visualizations to guide your decisions. Remember, MTSS is about adapting to meet each student's unique needs, and with the right tools, you can make sure your plans are working. Thanks so much for listening today, and I hope you can walk away feeling a little more confident in your MTSS strategies and intervention. Have a great day, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Thanks for listening to Schoolin' Around, a podcast hosted by Branching Minds. Go ahead and subscribe to our feed wherever you listen to podcasts. And don't forget, if you are enjoying our content, would you do us a favor and rate and review our podcast on iTunes? This helps others find our podcast and lets us know how much you love what we're creating. Branching Minds is an educational technology company using learning sciences and technology to help districts effectively personalize learning through MTSS. To learn more about us, check out our website, branchingminds.com, or follow us on Twitter, Facebook, or LinkedIn @Branching Minds.